Awesome. Okay. So, in my time as a web designer, I see the same mistakes made over and over. And so, this was my opportunity to tell you about the mistakes I'm seeing and hopefully save you from making those same mistakes. So, this talk is going to be the most useful for you if you built your own website. A lot of these are things that are kind of hidden, and if you don't know to look for them, you're likely missing them. Or if you hired a professional, but it's been a little while, that's really who I'm targeting with this talk. So I'm going to be touching on three aspects of web design. First of all, getting visitors, which is all about making Google's job easy. I am a on-page SEO person, not an SEO specialist. So I'm really good at your making your page ready so that Google's excited to introduce you to people. I don't spend time working with backlinks and all of that, but I do help you make sure that what's on your page is structured correctly so that Google likes you. Then I'm going to talk to you about helping keep them on your page and holding their interest. And then we're going to talk about converting them and making your visitor's job easy. Because I have 10 minutes, I'm going to move quickly, but just so you know, I will provide these slides, a list of resources that I love, and a discount consultation for you at the end if you're interested. All right, so first of all, getting visitors, page titles and meta descriptions. I've got a sample for you of what those look like. This is what people see when they search for you on Google. A lot of people are either skipping these. I actually see a lot of clients who don't put very much there at all, or they're not spending time on those. So really do take time to consider. This is kind of your storefront sign. It's what's going to encourage people to click on you. I do have an expert I work with who does keyword research. So if that's something you've never done and you know you could be doing a better job about reaching people with your keywords, I can introduce you to her. But really do spend time, and there also are some rules about how many characters you can use and some things like that to optimize it. Next is your alt tags. So often if you're using Wix or Squarespace or something like that, people skip the opportunity to put their alt tags. And what those do is they provide someone with a visual impairment the opportunity to have their screen reader tell them what they would be seeing. So if you see in this sample, we're not seeing the dog back here, but we've got this great description of the dog. If we weren't able to see the screen, this would really give me a clear indication of what I'm seeing. When you're putting images on your website, you should be including these alt tags. That's good for your SEO because Google will reward you for using alt tags. It's good for inclusivity and all visitors to your page feeling accepted and welcomed. And it's also good because then Google uses those keywords to help place you in search engines. So you might get some extra traffic from people who are searching for images and come across your images and come to your website that way. All right, and then I see so many people mess up their headers because when they're building their website, it says, or they get to select from a list of header options and they're like, this text would look good here. And they pick like a header 3. Your roadmap for your website is actually built based on your headers. So if you aren't following Google's rules with headers, it's not going to understand what you're doing. For instance, you can only have one heading 1 on your page. And then from there, you have to go somewhat in order. You can go from heading 2 to 3 and then back to 2, but you can't go from heading 2 to 4. So if you're messing up that's Google doesn't know what to do with your page and they're not going to refer you the way you hope they will. All right, another one, I really hope everyone knows this already, but mobile responsiveness is super important. 60% of web traffic these days is coming from cell phones. So if you haven't taken the time to actually go look at your website on a cell phone and make sure that it works well on a website, that's really important. I actually did an audit for a client this week that her whole screen on her cell phone just shrunk down and was a tiny version of her same screen. And I physically couldn't click the buttons on her navigation bar. So very important to actually take the time to make sure that it's mobile responsive. Sorry. All right. This is a personal pet peeve of mine. I go to so many homemade websites or outdated websites that are pop-up central. And often they come up really quickly before I've even had that moment to go, oh, good, I got to the site I wanted to get to. Like I see that logo I was looking for. I haven't even confirmed I'm where I want to be. And now there's a pop-up in my face. And often people have more than one. And often they're not even optimized right for the screen. So clicking out of them is difficult frequently. So really take some time if you own your own website to think about, is my pop-up really getting me the signups I want or the lead generating I hope it will? Is it worth the fact that somebody might get that pop-up and just go, not worth it, and click out? All right, I am working my way through the StoryBrand framework. I'm really a big fan of it, and that's why that book is there. I've got that on the list of resources as well. But when you're writing your messaging, a lot of people who make their own websites talk about themselves as the hero. Look what I can do. I have these awards. I have all this experience. When really what we want to do in our messaging is make it about our client, make it them see like how I'm going to come along as your guide and I'm going to help you to achieve this. I'm going to help you have this victory. So really think in your messaging about that. And like I said, that book is a great resource. Another trick to keeping them on your page is when you're designing, I like to build what's called personas. When I build a persona, I'm building a whole backstory for the person, thinking about their life and their experience and what they need. And when I'm building a website for clients, I will build as many personas as they have potential visitors. So I had one client who was did speaking engagements and also was a coach. So I built two different personas, one for each of those. And as we were designing her website, I'd say, okay, so your speaking client, Emily, she's going to click on this button, but your coaching client, Sarah, she's going to see this button and they're going to go to these pages, and we could really map out their journey. And that really helps you to kind of put on the blinders and think about that one user and their experience on your site. Another thing I see really frequently is somebody gets a website, whether they made it themselves or somebody else designed it for them, and they have this great idea and they're like, oh, I'm going to add this new page. And now they have this new page, but there's not really room in the menu. So we'll just stick it under the more button. And then, and I call it Frankensteining. I see websites that Frankenstein all the time. So when you're designing, really stop and think like, is this page actually giving information that my customer really does need? Or am I putting it there because I'm, grasping at straws for what I should try that's new this month? And if you're going to add a page, really be thoughtful about where you put it on that menu navigation. All right, so you've got them on your page, you've got them reading, you've kept them interested. Next thing is that StoryBrand book talks about there's two different types of call to action buttons. One that's a low commitment with time and finance, and the other one that's the higher commitment. So like a date me button and a marry me button. The date me button might be something like download this free ebook or sign up for my newsletter or come to my webinar. It's something that lets people kind of be in your orbit, get to know you, decide if they know, like, and trust you. And then once they feel comfortable with you, then you can give them that option to, hire me, book my services. So giving them both those options. I also find a lot of people, I had one client who really hates phone calls, but her main call to action all over her website was call me, call me, call me, call me, call me. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you want them to book a date on your calendar, let's put book me. So consider that if your main call to action isn't what your page is representing, it's time to relook at that. And then using, again, with that, creating a character and making your client the hero, you also want to connect with them emotionally. You want them to see that you have empathy for what they're going through, that you have the knowledge and the expertise to help them, and then show them the success that they could have from working with you, or the what might not happen because they chose not to work with you. You want to give them that emotional connection. And then testimonials, happy smiling faces of clients, things like that at the end of your page to really help remind them this could be your result. All right, so I'm Lizzie Moffett. I build custom websites in a platform called Webflow. I also give I call them website wellness checks, which is just every year to 6 months. If you want somebody to look at your website and make sure you're still on track, that it still has the user experience that you hope it has, that's my job. So I'd love to help you with that. Thank you very much.